this is a topic that I wanted to stay away from for quite some time, and I don't really know why. I don't know why I closed myself off to it. Now that I think about it, though, I think a lot of it had to do with the idea, and this is my own perception, this is maturity happening for me. I felt like attachment styles, anxious attachment, for example, they're putting themselves in a box. So when I hear people talk like this, usually I just close myself off to it and I'm like, look, just learn about it. Learn about attraction. I guess since I've completely come to the idea and understanding that awareness is the beginning of a healing. It doesn't really matter how you get to that awareness, really. It could be a breakup. It could be somebody, death. It could be losing a job. It could be whatever, right? Awareness. Oh no. It's an aha moment. And people are having them every single day. Attachments and attachment styles may be a way for people to become aware. It's their way of dealing with it and understanding their certain how they go about relationships. So I really wanted to dive into this because this particular video was recommended to me by one of my students, and they said, hey, check this out. I know you're not really into attachment styles, so I'm going to read the book. I know there's a book out there about it, so I'm definitely going to check it out, and I'm going to obviously interject and give you guys insight into like what I do, because there are going to be new people who see this video. Okay, every video I put out gets new subscribers, right? So any new people that have come here are going to get this information in a minute, but I want to, obviously get you guys in on the content. So
let's talk about it. Let's talk about secure attachment, anxious attachment, attachment styles. This subject has become so popular on my TikTok that I cannot but address it. I think this video is going to be as down to earth as I can make it. And then in the comments, you guys can tell me what else you're interested in and we'll go from there. Anxious attachment has been like the most pivotal point in my relationship with myself. I read the book Attached maybe 5 years ago, but for about 6 to 7 years, I've been working on my attachment style. I've realized it's the most pivotal thing for me. From relationships to feminine energy, to all of it. Everything I've discovered has helped me become the person that I am right now. And I'm going to try and make this video as open plan and as much of a conversation piece as I can, because this subject is just something that a lot of people are feeling at the moment.
So she came to the realization and awareness that she is this way. And usually that happens. This is especially for my clients and students, that they see a repeating pattern. Breakups happen the same way. That's what happened to me. Breakups happen the same way. So for example, some people get cheated on multiple times. Some people don't know how to set proper boundaries in a relationship, which will lead to this, to this, to this, to this. So they realize the same thing is happening over and over. That's what will lead to the awareness. And then somebody, usually the universe will deliver some sort of like reason, hey, check out this video, or hey, somebody will recommend something to you, or something will pop up on your YouTube feed and you'll see some sort of information about what you need to learn. Going into this attachment style stuff, I'm definitely much more open to it now that I see my students saying the same thing. Check this out, Kyle. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Oh my God, I'm this, I'm that. So she came to the awareness, and many of you guys are coming to the awareness that you are a specific attachment style. So cool. Awareness, again, is the beginning of healing.
For attachment styles, they come from your childhood or something that happens to you while you are young, and you take this attachment style throughout your life with you. About 50% of people, the lucky ones, are secure. You want to become secure in order to cultivate your relationship and make it go further. If you have an anxious attachment style, which is the second piece, men will call you needy. They will call you clingy, despite you wanting to appear so. People will ghost you, and they will argue with you for reasons that you don't understand. Sadly, when you have an anxious attachment style, you're actually going to push people away as opposed to attract them. You're going to, instead of cultivating the relationships you want, you are going to create chasms in which the relationship cannot exist. This third attachment style is avoidant, which I'm not going to address in this video because a lot of avoidant people don't necessarily need a video like this. I can make another video about how to deal with avoidant people, but you let me know if you're interested in that, because I know most people who are going to be watching this are anxiously attached like I was.
So maybe what I'll do is, make a video about that as I study it, because it's too bad. I wanted to learn more about it, but it's probably in the book. So
it was dire for me, to the point where I think that if I had had a secure attachment style earlier in my life would have been different. It just would have been different. I'm going to tell you how the anxious attachment style comes about in your life. You have a codependent style of relating to a partner. For the sake of this video, you're the woman and he's the man. If you're a man watching this, swap it around. Or if you are in a same-sex relationship, just imagine I'm talking about the sex that relates to you, but it's not specific to sex. However, much more women are more anxiously attached than men. It's just how we're raised, it's how society is, okay? So you as a woman will appear in this situation codependent on your partner. His moods, his life, his ideas will shift how you react and feel.
I see this because I deal with, so people who are new watching this that have never seen my content before, I coach men, mostly men. And I'm attracting more of a woman, more of a female audience to my content because of the shift in content that I've been making. I coach mostly men, and I'm seeing this same behavior, right? I see a lot of guys who are codependent on women. Their mood and how it affects them is dependent on specific things that are going on in their life. An example, and this may not be attachment styles, but I see there are students that I have in my programs. One is actually in my high ticket program, and I'm not going to name names, obviously, but this person uses a lot of that behavior in his relationships. So he becomes codependent. He becomes needy, clingy, because he needs that validation. He needs validation from her in order for him to feel secure, in order for him to feel happy and fulfilled. He needs that from her instead of having that as individually already. Or I guess that's what a secure attachment style would be, is just not needing, you just want it. So that's what's going on with that guy. And I've seen it many times before because I've been coaching for the past 4.5 years. So I see this happening in men too. So she said that it's more women, which is probably true. However, the guys that I've coached over the years that fall into this category, it's the same energy. It's an energy that these people are pushing out into the world, that they are not enough, that they are not secure, I guess, right? That they are not happy, they're not satisfied, they're not fulfilled. So they seek it externally and try to bring it into themselves instead of you going outwards like this. That's how I see it.
You will want to control what he does in order to make yourself feel secure. If he does things that you did not anticipate or that you did not know or did not want, it will absolutely throw you into a whirlwind of emotion. You are not comfortable being alone. If you've got anxious attachment, you're not comfortable with being alone. You're thinking of the person that you're attached to, or you're thinking about your next attachment. You also can't set boundaries. You cannot set boundaries for yourself. Oof. Not only do you want to be wanted by other people, but you cannot set boundaries for yourself because you are afraid, like I was, that if you say what is right for you and what is wrong for you, first of all, you probably don't even know what's right for you and what is wrong for you, but you are afraid if you say it, people will not want to be around you.
That is powerful. Okay, all right. So some of the guys that I've coached, when they first came to me, they were going through a breakup. Then they went into their next relationship shortly after. And I was helping them through the attraction process. But some of these guys would disappear and they wouldn't message me because they're now in a relationship, and guys have male ego. So they're just going to be like, oh, like, you know, I got this handled, bro. You know what I mean? Coaching men and women is very different. A lot of dudes need to be hit over the head with a hammer in order to just let go of, again, that fucking male ego and just be like, let's do this. Let's get this right. I don't want to fuck this up anymore. That's why I really like working with guys who are above the age of 30 because life has shit on you for a long time in your 20s. And then you're like, I'm done. I'm giving it up. I want to fix this. So what I've noticed is a lot of guys that I've coached have a problem setting boundaries. One guy in particular, his girl, he would go out into the world and do things, you know, go for a haircut, you know, get some groceries, whatever. And if he wasn't back at a specific time, let's just say 5 p.m., right? If he wasn't back by 5 p.m., she was losing her shit. She would call him names. She would say he's incompetent, loser, stupid, whatever. And he didn't stand up for himself. He was afraid that she would want to leave him, so he was fearful. He was fearful she would leave. he thought a fight would happen. Anyway, so he was fearful she would leave. So if you can't stand up for yourself as a man, men won't respect you and women won't respect you. So because he didn't stand up to her, right? Let's just divide this real quick. Because he was afraid that she would leave. Cause. So we're looking at cause and effect here. He was afraid that she would leave, and he was afraid a fight would happen. Both of those things would be him standing up for himself and having a spine, as people would call it. He goes out, gets a haircut. He's 30 minutes later than he should be in her eyes. So she would bring up things like, "Oh, you're probably seeing another woman. You're an idiot. You're this, you're that," and she would just say nasty things to him. Sounds awful. And because he didn't stand up for himself, it lowered her respect for him. And this is usually a subconscious thing. She doesn't think, "Oh my God, my attraction for him is falling." She's just repelled by him. So she treats him like this even more and more and more. Yes, she is being toxic, and maybe this relationship was never going to work out in the first place. Toxic relationships sometimes brings out the more anxious people. Like say somebody is maybe on the verge of being an anxious attachment, let's just say. Again, I'm new to this. A toxic relationship is going to really pull it out of them. Maybe somebody's working on themselves and they're working through things and they get into a relationship with somebody who's toxic. It'll bring that back out. Instead of them going forward and positive, it'll go backwards and negative, right? So anyway, attraction falls every single time in this instance. So because attraction's falling, she treats him worse, and he still doesn't stand up for himself, and then inevitably she either cheats on him or leaves him. This is just my experience coaching men, okay? Because this obviously happens with the reverse and flipped. So I'm just making little notes here as we're kind of learning this together.
You have decided somewhere in your early life that the only reason people wouldn't be around you is because you are comfortable to be with, because you've got attributes or assets that make you comfortable.
Like too nice.
In the paradigm of how you see the world, you see other people above you and yourself below them. Even though you might think that you're all this, when you conversate with people inside your self-esteem, you feel you're not worthy of things and of love.
Okay, I see that same behavior in everybody who is going all the guys that are messaging me on a consistent basis in my free Discord, in my coaching programs, in my high ticket mastermind. Doesn't matter what it is. Anyone going through a breakup right now does that. They put the person on a pedestal. So she's saying in an anxious attachment style, she's viewing him as if he's above her. And this happens in every single breakup that I've helped people with. They're putting the person that broke up with them on a pedestal all the time. So again, that's why I bring it back to the idea of it's just energy. There's fearful energy, right? That's why we look at this. All of these are energies, okay? Vibrating at a different frequency. Somebody who is dealing with a breakup or they're anxiously attached, I look at it, this is my way of looking at it, like it's an energy. So courage, neutrality, willingness, reason, and of course the purple colored emotions, that's where the secure attachment people are, in my opinion. This is how my brain's thinking of this. But people who are anxiously attached have fear, grief, guilt, shame, anger, desire, probably a lot of desire. That's kind of how my brain's looking at this. That's the connection I'm making. So that's why I say it's an energy. That's going to be the theme of how I look at this, guys. Okay? It's an energy, and you need to learn how to take that energy and put it into positivity, right? So if you have a lot of fear, recognize that fear is there, work through it, and transmute it into something positive. We'll talk more about that at the end of the video.
You feel dependent on others. It might be because you orchestrate it that way, and sometimes you will definitely do so. Like financially, you won't step up, or you will make sure that you're dependent on people just so that you can have a connection with somebody else. You will cultivate those type of relationships. This next one I hate. You will need validation from people. In order to have any kind of self-esteem or any idea of what you look like, or if you're smart, or if you're intelligent, or if you're interesting, you will need someone else to validate that for you. You will have an intense desire for closeness, and not a desire like a secure attached person would, where they just want that to happen. It will be like an addiction, like a need for that person to validate you and be close to you. And when they are not close to you, your whole world will spiral into an oblivion again.
Again, it's energy, right? That desire, like I keep talking about. You are seeking validation and external everything externally. Your desire, you don't have this, so you look for it and seek it externally. And what you need to do is become fulfilled and understand that you're worthy, that you're loved, you are loved, you can love, people will love you. And I think that's just understanding. Again, we'll talk more about this at the end of the video, but that's just understanding that you're worthy and really believing it. And there are exercises and ways that you can work through this. But again, I look at it like it's an energy. So all of these emotions right here, right? If that person is not acting or showing you that they love you in that moment, it's a constant recycle, a constant cycle, right? If that person, it's like a drug, like she said, it's an addiction, right? I see this happen in guys all the time, where if that person hasn't reached out in a while or whatever, because again, I help people through their dating. Some guys are really working through this stuff. And if that woman doesn't reach out or whatever, he's like, he goes into this frantic, again, fearful state, desire state. And then as soon as she's like, oh, I was sorry, I was busy, I was talking to my friends and blah, blah, blah. And, hey, what are you doing later? And he realizes again that he didn't need to be fearful in that moment. He didn't need to freak out. I think it's a lot of practice too, in understanding that people have lives. People want to be alone sometimes, and just you have to respect that. But again, it's an energy, and working through those energies is the important thing to do.
You will feel very jealous. You will feel jealous that your place can be taken in someone's life. You will feel jealous about people that they're around. You will also be a people pleaser. You will want to accommodate people with your comfort as opposed to your persona. You will not be interested in how you are as a person and what you can provide for other people with your value. Instead, you will try and people please. You will placate, you will try and be easy, but at the same time that will knock you in your ass, because realistically, you are going to try and people please so much that you will become almost repulsive. You'll have low self-esteem, and you will be sensitive about how others perceive you. You will ask questions about how people see you. You will ask questions about how you look to other people, especially that one person that you chose to be your, I was going to say victim, but it's not like that, but your source, I would say, of energy. And sometimes I feel anxious attachment gets the rep for being like broken and small and needing, but I think there is something to this energy that is kind of vampiric, where you need somebody to, now that I am healing and have healed, I believe I have healed it and I'm now securely attached. There is something to that energy that was almost vampire-like, where you needed somebody else's energy in order to feel better.
I've been in a relationship like that before, where somebody just constantly needs your attention. And like she said, it's vampiric. I can agree with that, because every single time I went to go do something with my life, this person needed to know what I was doing, where I was going, who I was with, and there's no trust. There's no trust there. And when people need that, you're like, man, can you just get away from me? Because for a little bit, you're like, okay, maybe, whatever, right? You would let it go a little bit. And then it just gets worse and worse and worse. So I've dealt with that personally.
If you have anxious attachment, you will not trust. You will check phones. You will think people are here to hurt you.
I have heard, by the way, I know I keep pausing it. I know you want to slap me. It's all right. So I have actually had so many students, especially on my Instagram, reach out to me that they'll say, I checked her phone, I did this and I did this. So maybe this is why a lot of that's going on. And
at the same time as doing that, you will put up with unhealthy relationships. As opposed to leaving those relationships, you will put up with unhealthy relationships, giving excuses about why that person truly actually does love you and isn't at fault. Now, the reason I told you all of this is because I want you to evaluate whether this is you and how it's impacting your life. Like I said, people will push you away or be pushed away by you. No matter how much of an amazing person you are, I feel if you have this kind of anxious attachment style, it almost becomes like a cloud.
It's a cloud, or I was going to say like a wall, right? Like, say this is the person. I use circles all the time, by the way. And this is the person that you are in a relationship with, right? And you're constantly connecting back and forth. But what happens when there's a wall here? They're really just connecting with this wall. Again, she said, not your person. They're not connecting with your persona. They're connecting with this energy. It's more like a block of energy. And this is the real you. And they're like, hey, and then they're going to get turned off by this wall. And then it creates even more anxiety and more crap. It makes you feel worse. And because it's a cycle, because you know that that is there, and you know that that's not the real version of you, but your fears and your anxieties come up, and it's almost like again, like she said a cloud, I said a wall.
Over the person that you truly are. I'm not a medical professional, but I have gone through this and I have come out on the other side. So if this helps you, I want to help you. I'm a believer that unless you wrestle with this like the dragon that it is and eliminate it from your life through the methods that I'm going to tell you, it will jeopardize relationships and it will jeopardize you. It will jeopardize you because you are you. You are the incredible human being that was born. And because of experiences, you develop this attachment style. This does not mean it's you. When I advise on my TikToks that people shouldn't, bombard people or text them back or ask why they're ghosted, they say, oh, I don't want to play games. I just want to ask them why they're ghosted. It's not a game. You have to have some kind of rigor and some kind of self-discipline in order to knock this out of your idea of being. And the way I healed it for myself is I learned intensely about what it means to be anxiously attached.
Okay, to me, right there, she became obsessively aware. So this is when you are hyper. Now, here's the cool thing about this. This is when people are hyper focused on something, they tend to be, it can be a good thing and a bad thing, because you can use this in a positive. Again, it's an energy, right? If you're transmuting your negative energy into a positive one by taking positive actions, even though you feel shitty. I became hyper focused, for example, on my businesses. When I became hyper focused on that stuff, it worked. But then that can also create an addiction. And if my business isn't going well, that can freak me out, right? It doesn't, but it can. There are moments where I'm like, oh no, right? And then I'll be like, I sit down, I'm like, what are you doing? I say this to myself. What are you freaking out about? Look at what you've accomplished. Look at what you've done. And then I have to, and then for like literally 30, it's only a 30-second thing. For some people, I know it can be a week-long thing. But for 30 seconds, I'm like, oh man, like what if, right? And then I'm like, what am I doing? So I think it's because I created healthy ways of being like, look at what you've done. Don't be scared or worried about this bullshit over here. Okay. Focus on what you can control. That's a stoicism thing. And focus on where you want to go instead of what you don't want. If you focus on where you're going and who you want to become, and if you focus on what you really do want instead of what you don't want, I think that's what really creates that difference in energy.
The reasons that I just told you, and I made the decision that that is not my personality. I then learned what it is to be securely attached, and I decided that this is now me. People are born as they are, but people make themselves into who they want to be.
Just like I just said, you have to focus on who you want to be and focus on that intently every single day. Focus on that all the time. And it almost becomes an obsessive thing, and you might not even like that energy, but that's what you need right now.
It's like a self-manufacturing process. I need you to manufacture a new version of yourself. You cannot be this person who pushes people away, who asks for validation, who doesn't trust, because you will not. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You think everyone's going to leave you and doesn't like you? The behaviors you do is actually going to lead to people leaving you and not liking you. You need to learn what secure attachment is and act as if you are until the neurons in your brain form a pathway to understand that when I act secure, people like me. When I act anxious, people are pushed away. Essentially, people who are anxious have had a trauma when it comes to attachment in their life. For me, it's that I don't have a dad. I had him until the age of 5, and then we don't have a relationship anymore. So my whole childhood, and also I'm an immigrant I moved to another country when I was very young and never saw my family. So it's those two things. There's nothing I did wrong. It's nothing anyone else did wrong. My father made the choices he wanted to. It's absolutely fine. But as a child, it imprints on you as an anxious attachment, where you feel, oh, I've got to grab onto people. I've got to grasp onto people. I've got to make sure that they don't run away from me. But actually, you running after people makes them run. You need to stand in your power and know who you are and practice secure attachment like any other practice in the world until it becomes you.
That is the best advice I have heard in a long time. First of all, this is a very, very good video. Half an hour into this, I'm saying this. This is a very good video. because this is what I tell people to do every single day. And she is really good at forming her ideas and putting them into a video. I don't know if she cut it up or whatever, but basically your actions determine who you are, and your outside world, your reality, is based off of your decisions and your actions that you take. So when you're anxiously attached, or maybe you are taking or doing certain things that will show people this behavior. So say you're texting too much, for example. How to fix this? When that inkling, that energy comes up, and you are constantly thinking, I do not want to be anxiously attached, right? There's a gap. I call this the gap. Okay. Let's say this is the gap, and this is where you want to be on the right. And this is where you are now. There is this gap that you need to hop. Okay. So you need to fix this. In order to fix this, you basically need to start taking actions that this person over here would take. So if somebody doesn't text you back, do you freak out like this person would? This person freaks out, right? This person gets mad. This person stays calm. And the funny thing is how the universe works is it will keep bringing the same lessons over and over and over and over. I'm pointing all this to as if this was the center, right? And over and over. And you'll constantly keep getting this lesson until you learn from it. Whatever brings this energy back up, and then it gives you the opportunity to be stronger. A lot of people ask God for strength. A lot of people will look externally for strength, and all you need to understand is it's in here. So when you're brought up with a situation in life, remember, that it's there because it needs to be there for you to learn from it. You get cheated on, right? Like I was. There's something that you have to take ownership of it. Look, there are some people out there that definitely don't deserve to be cheated on, right? But even though that's the case, like I didn't deserve it, but what caused her to do that, right? What was the reasoning? Was it my behavior? Did I date the wrong woman? Like what was it? And that's what causes me to look, right? And some people will just automatically, they don't do self-diagnostics. They just say, you know what, that's the way it was, and just move on, right? Now, that could be a good thing and a bad thing. But me, I was like, I don't want this to happen anymore. And so I know many of you feel that same way. You don't want to be anxiously attached. You don't want to be angry anymore. You don't want to be fearful anymore. So you watch these videos, which is awesome. I'm glad you're watching them. So this is one of my favorite videos I've seen so far, and I'm really mad at myself for being closed off. And that's my lesson. And that's the stuff that I have to learn, is to keep my mind open to all possibilities and discern what is good and what is not good. Right. So, I like this video. I think it's great. Emotions. So again, the universe will keep bringing back the thing you have to learn so that you can evolve and grow. I think this life is personally about growth. I think that's why we're here, to grow. Maybe we forget why we're here when we come here. I don't know. All I know is I see the same correlations happening in life with everybody. Everybody is learning something.
And you will see that your true personality can then shine and people can come into your life. I'm going to tell you now the behaviors that you exemplify when you're anxiously attached. You know you're anxiously attached if you're calling and texting people nonstop when they haven't replied, when you cannot give them that space. You always need to text, and when you haven't texted, you have an anxiety. You feel like something's wrong. You need that fix more than you need a good relationship. You need that fix of them replying more than you need them to respect you and see you as a wholesome person. You're constantly checking social media. Where are they? What are they doing? What did they look at? Who did they like? You're preoccupied with their existence as opposed to your reality. You are suspicious when life is good. When life is good and you've got a good partner, you are suspicious that something is going to slip up. You go along with what your partner wants to the detriment of the relationship. You build resentment. You go with what they want. They want to eat pizza tonight? Yeah, of course. They want to go here? Yeah, of course. They want you to cook, but you're tired? Yeah, of course.
Which can actually create so much resentment. And that resentment can hide behind that wall, like I told you, because like she's saying, You don't stand up for yourself. You don't voice opinions. You don't do the things that you need to do in a relationship for a relationship to actually be, again, a respected place from both parties. That can create resentment in the person that is the anxiously attached person. And they're like, why am I in this relationship if I don't even like this person anymore? Or they don't even like themselves anymore because they can't make the right decision, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just adding stuff that I've seen.
Till it builds up so much that you've got resentment in you. You can't say no.
There it is.
Not because you're so kind and so nice, but because you're scared that you're going to get thrown in the bin, that you're going to be rejected. You constantly ask your partner if they find you attractive or they like you. You constantly ask what it is about you that they like. I used to do this kind of thing. Listen to me. It's the worst possible thing that you can do, not only for their attraction towards you, but for your own mental health. You don't want to hear their answers. You don't want to see their face change as you ask that question. You're going to read into it. With your brain, as it is right now, with your anxious attachment, anything they say, you're going to scan and it's going to be to your detriment. You just need to be in yourself, in your own embodiment, in your power, and know that everything is going to be okay. You avoid breaking up from a bad relationship. You know it's bad. You've asked your friends. They already told you that he probably doesn't like you. You keep seeking validation from this person. You know why? Because they remind you of the person in your childhood who hurt you. You want love from that guy who does not want you, but kind of sticks around, because if you can win his love, then it will remind you and it will let you know that the love of the person you lost as a child or you felt tethered from you was worth it, that you now want it in the present future, because this guy is similar to the person who hurt you. So you couldn't get their love, and now that situation is gone, but you can get his love. You've proven to yourself that you're worth it, but that's not how it works. You can never prove that you've been worth it. You need to let it go. Even if you're the ripest peach, not everybody likes peaches. That person in the past who didn't love you enough, who didn't see your worth, they did not see you because they didn't see you because you were bad. They just didn't see you because they didn't want to see. That's it. There's nothing more to it. It's their journey. You need to let them have that journey. At the essence of it, anxious attachment will sabotage your relationships, and it will cause you to not live in the moment. Anxious attachment always lives in the future of prediction. Is he going to cheat on me? Is he going to hurt me? Is he not the one? Does he not find me this? Does he not find me that? Since healing from it, I still have moments when I drop into that, and I really have to snap myself out of it. Am I the one? Does he like me? Does he this one? Does he that one? No. You need to become securely attached. This is how you do it. You need to learn to regulate your emotions. You need to find a way to regulate your emotions without that person telling you that everything's going to be okay. Finding a way to regulate your emotions without somebody else is up to you. Do you want to meditate? Do you want to sit with yourself? You just need to not ask people how they feel in order to make you feel better until it becomes a practice for yourself. You cannot always rely on somebody else to fix your emotions. You have to have some kind of pillar of strength in yourself in order to regulate yourself.
I really like this because that's why I focus on this so much. These fears, or these emotions, I should say, because when you're in that emotional place where you're like, I need to send that message. Oh my God, I need to. And it's because you're trying to satisfy that hole, right? You're trying to fill that hole. You're trying to come back. You're trying to get them to respond to you because you feel empty or you feel tired or you feel sad or whatever. Regulating your emotions and getting out of here and just, where the solar plexus, when you feel like really anxious, right? And getting into your head a little bit and just going, okay, look, or I should say it like this, going from an emotional place to a logical place. If that person's not texting you back, maybe they're just busy. Why do they have to be doing something bad? So regulating your emotions, like she said, is very important. So what I tell my students to do, she's going to have, I think, her way of saying it. But first of all, exercising is extremely important. I know this sounds so cliche and corny. When you feel a certain way, first of all, she said meditation was one of hers, or sorry, she brought up an example. I say exercise, meditate, and sit with yourself. Those two things are fantastic, because without your phone, because when you look at your phone, you're going to be downloading information from the internet that you don't even need anymore. You don't need to see. You don't need that fix. So I would say I have a box behind me. It's actually right here. Okay, if you look at my finger right here. Okay. So that white box, I got it online. It's got a little lock on it. It's a timed lock. You put your phone in it, or you put video game controllers in it, or whatever it is that you want to put in there, just to keep you from being able to look or touch because you can't help yourself. That is a great way, and you can do it for 5 minutes if you want to. So when you're meditating and you're just sitting with yourself, I like to have a cigar sometimes on my own with my own thoughts, right? So, hit your cigar a little bit and it tastes good, and then you're sitting with yourself. It's very therapeutic. Or going for a really long hike. Because when you're doing something in rhythm, okay, you're walking, right? That's not what people sound like when they walk, but that's the sound I just made. When you're walking along. You're not even really bored. You're just sort of in a trance. You're just walking, right? And when you're doing that for a long time, you have nothing to do but think and be with yourself and work through your own emotions. The reason why so many of you guys are fucked is because you're looking at this, you're looking at your phone or phones, and you're seeing other people and the way they react to the world. You'll see a TikTok video, you'll see a YouTube video, and you're like, oh, I need to do what they're doing. Instead, you just need to be by yourself, be with yourself, listen to your own energy every single day. There is a whisper in your head. Everyone has it. Well, maybe some of you guys don't have it. Maybe some of you guys are bots. I'm just kidding. Listen, and the reason why a lot of people can't hear it is because it's so suppressed because they consume so much stuff from the world, they can't hear it anymore. So you need to put your phone away, stop digesting information from your phone and the internet. Okay, and go out into nature, go for a really long hike, meditate, exercise, do the timeless stuff that has always worked. And that's what I get my students to do, and build something. So what do I mean by this? So again, I have a program for this stuff. Okay, so there's the 6 pillars. Announcements. Obviously, I should have probably done this a lot earlier. Check the description box. The book is out. I have a book about breakups. Okay, book. This is the breakup book. If you guys are going through a breakup, pick this up. It's in the description box. It'll help you. Okay, it's no fat, none of that bullshit. It's just in, out, you're learning. Announcements. I have a free Discord and a mentorship program, and the email list and all that stuff is down below in the description box and the pinned comments. Okay, but what we talk about is the 6 pillars: health, wealth, skills, mindset, social circle, and relationships. Okay, that's what we talk about. It's really important we work on emotions, because if you're going to build a business, for example, because I teach how to make money online, and I teach you guys how to become consultants, coaches, or whatever it is you really want to get into, because we focus on marketing, we focus on all that stuff, right? If you want to build a business, you can't be an emotional person. You need to be very logical and very strict and stern about where you spend your time and what you do and how you do it, right? So that's why mentorship is important. I have a mentor myself, and I wouldn't be where I am without that. So that's why I have this here. Again, regulating those emotions and being on your own to think a certain way. Because if you say, for example, a lot of people have heard of drop shipping, right? I even tried it myself. Instead of focusing on the one business like this one here and just doing this every single day for the next 10 years, right? People get shiny object syndrome. What's this person doing? I'm gonna do what they're doing. What's that person doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? Right? That's why having the right people around you is really important. This works for relationships too. If you have friends around you that are telling you to date 20 women or women out there, you have girlfriends and they're telling you to do stupid shit that you would not normally do because they're doing it. Makes them feel good for 5 minutes. Again, regulating your emotions is extremely important, and it will 100% A, raise your vibration, but B, it will bring you things. How many times have you made a decision when you're in an emotional place and you're like, I regret doing that, right? Especially like, oh, they haven't texted me back in 5 minutes, so you send out another text and you're like, why did I do that?
Secure people trust others. You need to deploy the element of trust if you decided to be in a relationship with a person before it is broken. You cannot lead a relationship from the position of distrust and seeking a negative in that person constantly, because then you will find it. That's just how life works. That is the magnetism of the universe. That is what it is. So just dispense the idea that you're somehow going to find that they're trying to hurt you, and just trust them, if you will, until they do hurt you. If you're so convinced that they are going to hurt you, fine. but just let life flow until they do. What is the point of living in perpetual anxiety, hence the anxious attachment, until they hurt you? You might have a good 15 years until they do. Why be in that hurt constantly? Why always be seeking for something? Just trust a person until and if they break that trust. Imagine they were never going to. Imagine with your actions you've pushed them away and you lose a relationship and they were never going to break your trust. Imagine that is the reality. You should be more scared of that than somebody hurting you. Because if you were in your truth and you were correct and you were in your goodness and then they are a bad person and they hurt you, when you walk away, you can walk away knowing you've done your best. You can walk away with a clear conscience. You can walk away knowing that you've been progressing and growing as a person that whole time, and what they did is up to them, not up to you. That's on them. Secure people have effective communication skills. They say what they desire and what they want, as opposed to searching for outs in people and searching for inadequacies in people. Instead of saying, oh, why didn't you call me last night? They say, I love it when you call me. I'd love it if you called me tomorrow. They say what they want as opposed to what that person did not do. And then, after saying what they want, if that person does not deliver what they want for months or years, they then don't want to be with that person. As opposed to taking a person who doesn't want to do these things for you and trying to twist them into submission and making them do those things. You need to communicate clearly with your wants and needs as opposed to playing games. Secure people seek emotional support, not validation. They say, I'm feeling tired today, I'd really love to spend time with you, or I really need your help on this issue, these people at work did this. They seek emotional support. They watch what is happening, and let's say after 2 months he just does not call you and you've been the one calling him. You'll say, do you know what, I'd love it if you'd call me sometimes. It makes me feel really happy. And it makes me sad when you don't. Open, clear communication. And they give people a chance. Secure people are comfortable being alone. You were born as you and you will die as you. There is nobody who's come into this world with you, unless you're a twin, of course. But then there's no one who's going to go out at the same time. You need to be on this journey with yourself. You need to have some stoicism. And most of my viewers are women, and you'll say, but how does that fit into emotional and female energy? Well, it does, because you need to be in your feminine, in your power. The feminine is nature. You need to be in nature. You need to be in the equilibrium of life. You need to know that sometimes people will be with you and sometimes you will be alone, and you need to be comfortable with that. Nobody can carry you. You need to carry yourself. Secure people are not defensive. This one is a hard one for me. We are all defensive, but they take things with a pinch of salt. They know that not everybody can really see into you. In fact, nobody can. Nobody really knows you. Everyone sees you with a perception of themselves plastered on it. When people ask me why I don't get offended by what people say about me or about my lifestyle on the internet, because I actually know that they're not talking about me. How could they possibly be? They're talking about a microcosm of what they saw, put it together in their head from their life experiences and woven a web of what they believe to be a reality. It's got nothing to do with me. So, not being defensive. They show empathy. Secure people show empathy when it's needed. They're there for other people. Not because it gives them something back. Not because it's going to be like, oh, I did that for you, I'm going to get this back. But because they just do it. They don't expect anything back. Secure people know when to compromise and when to say no. They know what their limits are. An anxiously attached person, if they're, say, asked to wash the dishes and they're at their tether and they're tired, they will say, yeah, I'll do it, just to be liked. And then they'll hate that person, resent them, and have a fight and attack them. A securely attached person will say, I'm sorry, I'm tired today, I can't do it. But I love you and I'll try it tomorrow. Or I understand, or one of us will figure it out. And they can take the wrath of somebody or the discomfort of somebody because they've set their boundaries, but they also know when to compromise. They're not going to go around saying, oh, I did this for you, I did this for you. They know when they can do something and when they can't. They know their capabilities. They learn to know themselves. They are straightforward. They say how they feel and they mean what they say. They respect other people's boundaries. This is a big one. The thing that annoys me about people with anxious attachment styles, and I had one, keep that in mind, is that they're disrespectful of people's boundaries. They think just because they feel anxious, just because they feel a type of way, they can bulldoze people. Yeah, I know you're not comfortable. Yeah, I know life is not rosy. I know you want everybody to make you feel better, but they can't.
And that makes them not want to be around you at all. I feel this way, and I don't want to feel this way, so you need to do something to fix it. That's exactly why people are like, ooh, sorry. There's a person in my life right now who is like that. They're not close to me, but they're like that. And nobody wants to be around this person ever, because they feel a certain way, and because they feel that way, everyone else needs to fix it.
It's not their responsibility. That's not what they were born to do. Because whether you like to hear it or not, your emotions probably come up more often than that person or any person is capable of dealing with. And it's up to you to deal with them. They're your emotions. Secure people are free of old baggage. They don't bring their ex-relationships or who cheated on who or how they were treated into this relationship. In fact, when you first start dating somebody, don't bring that up. It's not important. They don't know you enough to validate knowing these things about you. All in all, I want you to understand that if you are anxiously attached, it's not your fault. But if you continue behaving that way, then it is your responsibility. You need to study secure attachment. You need to read the following books. Attached, Attached, Attached. You need to read Getting the Love You Want. I'll link all these books below. And you need to read How to Be an Adult in Relationships. All these books are linked below. Those 3 books will help you with your attachment style. My TikTok videos will help you with your attachment style. I'm going to be creating a course about feminine energy and overcoming anxiety soon. That will probably help you a lot in your attachment style because I'm putting a lot into it. All in all, you need to practice vulnerability and trust. You need to decide to throw caution to the wind, to stop investigating, to stop concentrating on other people, concentrate on yourself and on your journey. You need to practice mindfulness and be in the moment, because anxiety is all about living in the future. You just need to throw caution to the wind and be in the moment. And you need to learn about detachment, because the more you learn, the more you will see that anxious attachment is not you, but it's a style of attachment.
And it ain't working for you.
It is not who you are, it's just how you've learned to relate. And you can change it, and you can be happy. And even if shit hits the fan and things go wrong, you will be fine. If you're securely attached, you will find someone else, you will get through it, and you will be happy.
So I think that was a really good video, and I think that I was far too closed off to what all this meant. And I think that it's important to continue to always be a student and study. What I really learned from that was it kind of puts everything that I teach into a very cohesive message, I guess, because, you know, I deal with a lot of guys dealing with breakups and they're acting that way. I don't know if they're particularly anxious attached people, but they're acting that way. So this is what led me to the idea of energy and understanding energy. The main message of that video was to learn about being a secure attached person. For me, I think being around people who are where you want to go and where you want to be and how they act, mirror that, study it, look at it and say, okay, you don't act like this. People that are secure are going to have healthy ways of dealing with conflicts, emotions, energy. And I think that's the main message here, is just learning how to deal with that and learning how to, again, anybody who's an anxious attachment style and they're watching this and they've watched that video before, if you are like that, you have to become aware of A, who you are now and why you're like that, and B, who you want to become, and you have to focus on what does that person do. I kind of look at it as like, if you want to be a great guitar player, what do you got to do? Pick up the guitar and play the damn thing. Okay. But that doesn't mean you can't learn from other people. You can learn how to do specific techniques and cool things. Ultimately, there are fundamentals to relationships and success. This works for business too, guys, right? It's not attachment styles per se, but the right energy can get business success for you, because you can get out of your way of, oh my God, I'm feeling all this fear of making my first YouTube video. Oh no. But you have nothing to be afraid of, because just like she said, she gets judged by people, right? But it's not even there. It's not even, they don't even know you, right? They don't even know who you are. So when they say nasty things about you, somebody called me evil once on my channel. They're like, you're evil. I was like, okay. How could you possibly know that? Just like she said, that's what goes on in my head. So clearly her and I think very much alike and act very much alike. And she's a woman and I'm a man, obviously. This is where a great relationship can happen, is when you have two people of the same energy, secure energy, happy. So again, I have this idea right here: courageous, neutral, willing, acceptance, reason, and see all the following emotions: happy, productive, cooperative, conscious. But look at the very top, in service. That's why I talk about making money online, because when you're making money online, behind that, you're actually being of service to someone. Because if you want to make money, you actually have to help other people get what they want. So when you're in service, that is the highest level of enlightenment that you can have. Fearlessness. So again, a business owner needs help with marketing. You're helping their business grow, get you paid. Right? Me, I do blogs, right? Blogs and, this work here. And I have an SEO company too. So literally, I'm in service to the people that are asking these questions on Google or YouTube. Again, if you guys want to learn about how to do that, everything's in the description box down below. And I have a free Discord. So if you want to just reach out to me, just join the free Discord and just send me a DM. It's easy. You'll be able to join the email list, do all that shit. And I will see you guys in the next video. Check whatever comes up on your screen. It'll help you. Done.